Hello. So the setup at the moment in the way of repairs is still very mediocre, but I thought I'd have a go at doing the Midland anyway. So the bench really isn't big enough for any test equipment, but we've got a scope on here, we've got a multimeter, we've got a power meter, which is just up there. We've got a soldering iron, some solder, a 25 amp power supply, which is obviously way over the kill for such a small radio, and we've got the radio on the bench here. So it's the Midland, the 77104 UK, December 1985. So we turn it on, we're on channel 20. It may not be easy to see. Let me turn the light out. We're on channel 20. If you'll focus in on it, there we go. Channel 20 on the UK 40, which is 27781.125, I believe it is. 27781 megahertz. Got a power meter here. This is my old faithful Diamond SX200. I'm not sure if we can see the meter properly. Bear with me. So we'll key up. We have nothing. No lights on the front of the radio. No movement off the meter. Went into a dummy load. It's a little homemade dummy load, handles about 20 watts or so. So we have nothing at all. Flick the power switch on the back, and we still have nothing. Flick it up and down. It does nothing. So, but I'm guessing it's the switch, because it just feels deaf. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything. So let's unpower the radio. Disconnect it. Throw the leads down the back of the table here. Disconnect the lead for the power meter, and then plug the microphone. It just makes it easier. There we go. So we'll take the it's a shame we didn't have a bracket. It didn't come with a bracket, but otherwise it's condition's nice. It's nice. It's nice considering it's getting on a bit. Manufactured in 85. So as I said, I'm guessing it's the switch here. So let's remove some of the screws. I don't think we need to remove them all just to get at the switch. These switches can be quite common as a problem, because they're right on the back. They get bashed, they get bumped, and they're pretty fragile things anyway. So let me just remove all the screws. I'll be back. So we're back. We've got the speaker panel off. Radio inside looks virtually untouched. Still got the wax on the cores. It's part of the filter setup. This is here, and matching. It does two functions in the radio. It's part of a low pass filter, and it also does matching between the 50 ohm antenna and the output transistor, which is low impedance. And and I mean very low compared to the antenna socket, which would, well, the antenna would be 50 ohms. So everything looks nice. As you can see, it's got the channel selector, not a rotary encoder. It's a proper channel selector on this, not the rotary encoder. They switched to rotary encoders on the later versions. I went for this one because of the date, and I knew it was an early one. The condition is quite nice as well, and I wanted a channel selector. So at some point I might add mid-band to this. See how it goes. A bit tight for space, but we should be able to get a mid-band chip in there. So we'll give it 26965 to 27405. I would disconnect the switch on the back then for power, and I'd use this switch to switch between the two bands. So I'm going to test the switch. The radio is unpowered. So this is just continuity. The switch works in so much as that when you flick the switch to the right, it's the contacts on the left which are energized, and when you switch the toggle switch itself to the left, the contacts on the right are energized. So it's opposite. You would think that the if you switch it, if you flick the toggle to the right, the contacts on the right are energized, but it's not. It's the opposite way around. So we'll have a look. It really doesn't toggle. It just goes round in circles. So we should have a continuity on something. We've got nothing. There was something there. But it should actually read close to what the probes read. So it's reading 3 roughly 3 ohms for the lead. So yeah, I'd say the switch is gone. Looks like the switch is gone. So we need to remove the switch and change it. So let's remove the switch. Turn the soldering iron on. Remove the speaker from the radio, just makes it a bit easier. So we'll lose the speaker. There we go. Let's disconnect take the switch off. The camera is on a stand, but it's not my normal stand. Nothing is set up here. So there's the switch. Right, okay. Okay. So we'll just do a quick diagram, just so I know what is what. So we have red, blue, orange, and so this was normal, and I was minus 10 dB, just so we know which way around it goes. So I've got some switches here. Of course, this is a micro switch. Let's see what we got in here. That looks to be the right one. We might be able to get away with just this one. Ah, no. A momentary switch, this one is. That's no good. It's a shame. So we'll use this one. Okay. Let's disconnect the wires. Disconnect the wires. This tin the connections on this one. It's the same type of switch, but this is a it's basically two switches in one. So you've got a set of contacts on the top, which acts as a switch, and a set of contacts on the bottom, which acts as a switch. So grab a bit of solder. Let's just test our switch, make sure it's good. I mean, a lot of these things come from China, and the quality is poor at best. So let's just test it. Bit fiddly. Okay. Working on. Yeah. It's so small. Okay. All the contacts on the switch buzz out okay. So we have red is center. Let's put a bit of flux. Bit of flux on there. Bit of flux on the wires. Some of these wires are overly long by the look of it. Just trim them down a tad. Still recording? Yeah. This one. So we have red as a center. Blue is next. And then we have orange. When it's in that way, that should be normal. Okay. Not the best switches. Need a Chinesium. I'll actually go in there. Different type of switch. See? We may have to drill this out slightly. It's a little bit wider than the original. So we're back. We didn't need to drill it out. We just took off the spacer at the back. That was a little bit smaller. Feels so much better. Okay. That's good. Let's connect the speaker back up. Bit of flax. Just so we can reflow it. The speaker's been off at some point. Someone's burnt the insulation. So there is the radio. That should be high power. Let's switch in. Let's connect up the power meter and dummy load. This cable doesn't feel the best. So I just grabbed out of the box. Maybe a bit of a dodgy cable. Let's connect some power. See what we get. Plug the microphone in. Aha! We have power. There we go. So let me turn the light out a minute. So we're on channel 20. High power. High power is reading. We're on the 5-watt scale on the power meter. Yeah, we're reading just under 5 watts. That's into a dummy load. Low power. Should be around about half a watt or so. Yes, it's slightly less than half a watt. According to the power meter, it's about 250 milliwatts or so. But of course, you've got to take into account the accuracy of the meter. So the radio is now up and running. So let's flick it back to high power and see if we can make a contact. The antenna is not exactly brilliantly high. And let's get something to stop that from moving and scratching. Plug the antenna in. advise if we hear anybody. 27 FM around here is quite quiet. But you never know. There's a few get on to channel 25, so we'll have a listen on there now. Anybody for a radio report? Anybody for a radio report? Anybody for a radio report? Anybody for a radio report down here? It's working. It's getting out. Let's check the frequency a second. Okay, so I've just rigged up the little 5-digit counter. It's enough for basic frequency checks. So that should be 27781, and it is. So channel 1 should be 27601, and it is. And channel 40 should be 27991, and it is. So the radio is actually putting out power, and it's on the right frequency as well. Anybody for a radio check? Anybody on here for a radio check? I mean, it's only putting out 5 watts, so it's not an awful lot of power. Anybody for a radio check? Anybody for a radio check? Anybody about? Anybody about? Anybody for a radio check on a 19? Anybody for a radio check on the 19? You'd think there'd be somebody about. Anybody for a radio check on the 19? Anybody about? Anybody about? Very quiet. Anybody for a radio check? I have no idea who that is. Anybody for a radio check out there? Anybody for a radio check? There's normally a few stations on 25. Must be anybody on here today. Anybody for a radio check? Anybody for a radio check on here? Anyway, we'll try it a little bit later. Obviously, the radio is working. The video has got long enough. A simple fix, really. So anyway, thanks for watching.